Hello everyone and welcome. Today we have with us Ms. Vijaya Ghosh, partner at BCGX. She's a seasoned AI and data science leader and brings with her 20 plus years of consulting experience across the firms like BCGX, IBM and Accenture. She is specialized in data-driven transformation and building high impact and high skill teams. She is also an actively mentor for next generation of AI talent. Ma'am, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today.
Likewise.
So ma'am, I will start with the first question. So ma'am, as we're discussing more about the AI, we have seen AI evolve just from being a technology to a core to many businesses. And you have experienced 20 plus years, I have been in this field for so much time. So could you please share some of your experience or pivotal leadership decisions that scaled your experience about AI from just being a tech part to a core of business?
Actually, I've been very lucky that way, right? In my first experience itself. So after my MBA, I joined Tata Motors more as a marketing manager. Then I pivoted to this company called Marchex, which was actually doing data and analytics for leading CPG companies.
Okay.
Now that and this happened when I'm talking about is way back in 2005. So you can see it was 20 years ahead of its time, among the first analytics company to be based out of India. And what they were doing, and that's where I realized that, you could use data for decisions. Now, before that, even I would say what I learned in my MBA, a lot of it was frameworks and things that you had to apply.
Right.
But how can you use data for decisions is what I learned in this company. And how we were there were models that we were building, the technical statistical models that we were building that were guiding things like brand architecture, things like how do you look at segmentation, things like what campaigns to run, how do you look at optimizing marketing spends and all. So then these became from just a model, a technical model, to actually how they were guiding business decisions. And I was lucky enough to be among the first to do it among the first companies that were doing it.
Okay.
And these companies, that's where I realized that they were actually using what we were giving as model results to their decisions.
Okay.
And how there was an uplift in whatever they were thinking because of these decisions. So this actually changed my thinking. I mean, this is where I realized early on, and I've been lucky that way, in seeing it not as a technology play, but as seeing as a business play right from the get-go. And I think that defined my rest of my experience as well, and which is holding in good stead even now.
Yeah, so I guess the thing that you mentioned about how you realize from your current experience and your client's experience, I guess that's a practical application and the experience can only teach us. And as we talk about the frameworks mostly in MBA, it can be a little bit tough to gain that practical application just by being in a school or anywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so actually this brings to my next question, as you're talking about the MBAs and frameworks. So another thing that we learn a lot in MBA is having human empathy and emotional intelligence. But what we are seeing is now business also being a lot of data driven. So going forward, how do you think this human decision making will play a part specifically in the companies which are extremely AI driven, and how the situation is currently and how it will evolve maybe in the next 5 years or next decade? What are your thoughts on this?
I believe as human beings, emotional intelligence, empathy is what differentiates us.
Yeah.
And I think as that, we should try every possible way to maintain that. Because you see, machines can do tasks and they can do tasks really well. Today, we are even wanting our machines to be empathetic.
True.
Right? So that is the level that we want to go towards. Because at the end of the day, for our society to succeed, and this is within an organization, as an organization working with people, I think it's very important that the empathy factor always stays. Like, for example, if there has been, for example, I'm a manufacturing person, and when a manufacturing company, I need to make things which will make things easier for others.
Right.
So I need to come up with such advancements that will benefit. For example, if you think about I'm selling a car, but then there was this whole, incident, and again, it's a public incident. Volvo was seeing that in the early days, there were a lot of accidents that were happening in the car and people were dying instantly. And, the car accident meant death. And then they realized it because most of them, whenever there was a head-on collision, they would they would hit their head on the windshield or whatever and lead to death. And they said one way in which this could be prevented is by having seat belts. So that is an innovation that they did. But they were empathetic enough to actually say that I'm not going to benefit from this. I'm not the only person who's going to benefit from this. I am going to make this, I will make this public. So that every car manufacturer actually has comes with seat belts and becomes, and of course it took a lot of time for us from the time the seat belts came into the cars to people actually following that and wearing the seat belts. Until today we have issues. Where people, unless there is a fine, they don't want to wear seat belts. And it's been, I think, more than 50 years since the innovation of seat belt came to the adoption, where people still are not following it, and still we see so many unfortunate loss of lives that happen because people have not been wearing seatbelt. But this is an example of empathy, right? So you wouldn't just solve the issue of making people buy more cars. It is about seeing what is it that, how can people go safely in the cars that you have manufactured. And for that, you came with an innovation on seatbelt. And then, as I said, there has been a whole lot of struggle, including the government, the media, and the public in general, advocating for wearing seatbelts for people to be safe. So this empathy, I think this is an inherent quality that we as human beings need to have in everything we do. Whether it is an AI first organization, AI, I would say, should be more for the amplification of humans. It should help us. It shouldn't be like, for example, the cars, when the cars came in, I mean, people, what was the alternative? You had horse carriages, etc., that you were using. And the alternative was a car, which allowed you to go faster. And today, most of us can travel the country on road, or even countries on road, right? So that innovation has been possible because we have a car. We also wanted to make it safe, so that more and more people can use it safely, and they can enjoy the benefits of it rather than the problems of it. And that is the lens at which every innovation has to be seen, AI included. And that is my belief and hope that human beings will always move towards that.
True. So I guess the psychological safety factor here comes a lot in play, because as we discuss about the seat belt. So not only about the cars, but if we consider any product, one of the aspect that any customer would want from that product is have a psychological safety. And I guess this example completely highlights on that, and also shows why empathy can drive us in that direction and also help to expand the market, because as it was expanded to all the competitors and entire market, it surely grew the customer base and the entire market for them also. So it's like you're getting benefited for something good that you did, and that's very important.
Yes, and it should be something for the greater good.
Exactly.
I mean, at the end of it, if you think about it, all human endeavors should be for the greater good.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is a more philosophical statement, but that is also a very practical and business statement if you think about it. Those companies who have taken the forefront in this have always also been seen, they've also benefited because of that.
Leaders also, we see them like they're taking the initiative and not just keeping it to themselves, but working for the benefit of the entire society.
And XLRI and Tatas that you see here, I mean, that is also one of the shining examples of how you are bringing that together, right? Because the purpose for which you started any business was for the greater good. And you continue to actually reap the benefits of it decades later, even when it, even much after that thought actually got seeded.
Actually, and I guess that's what one of the things which surely makes this school really a best place to be in. Now, so moving to next question. So you have worked across various industries, as we mentioned, about from consulting to even some startups and even the marketing, as you said. So what are the key learnings from this diverse work experience that have helped you to be the leader that you are, specifically in the data transformation field based on the AI?
See, I think in data analytics, as I keep saying, it is not just only what the numbers tell you or the statistical models tell you or what the LLMs now tell you, right? It is more about how do you apply it in the domain and context that is relevant to your decision making. And having versatile experience or having done that in different places gives you that experience, that cumulative or accretive experience, which actually helps you in the next. So that's always the case. Like, for example, even if, for example, you started only marketing, but you would see there are some applications of marketing that you could potentially bring to another space as well.
Right.
So this is the accumulation or accretion of experience that you bring, and that is what leads to judgment.
Yeah.
At the end of it, and in fact, even when you today, if you think about it, when you're training your LLM models as well, you try to do that. Yeah, you try to do that to give that exposure, that context. Like, for example, most organizations, what are they trying to do when they are trying to do, the LLM comes with broad internet experience. And when you say broad internet experience, it has seen all kinds of material which is out there, whether it is written in US, in UK, across the world, in India, China, etc. So it is trying to bring all that together when it is trying to answer a question to you. So whatever is available on the internet. But if you were to bring it to an organization, the institutional knowledge which sits inside the organization, then you want the LLM to learn that specifically as well, so that the answers or the responses that you get are also have the lens of that organization's philosophy, ideology, and culture.
Yes.
So that's what you would do, and that's what happens for us as when you have a diverse experience also. Each of it adds to your bank of knowledge as such, which you then take to the next organization, and then you actually apply it to a different situation. And I believe that always is a much, that's a synergy that you bring in of your past knowledge and the present situation, and how that specific context thinks about it.
Right. And I guess your answer to this brings up a unique aspect of continuous learning itself. So as you said, bringing the diverse background and experience and building up upon that. So I guess if you are humble enough to identify the gaps and to learn continuously, if you have that desire, I guess that will surely play much more critical role and help you in the growth. Maybe not only like we can say from monetary value or professional, but even from as a human, it will help us to grow a lot in the long run.
Yeah, so this is that classic four blind men and the elephant story, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you need to see the big picture.
True.
Because if you are very focused only on the trunk of the elephant, all you would think that the world is the trunk of the elephant.
Yeah.
But it is not so, right? You need to have that bigger picture, a broader view, which comes with multiple experience. And as you rightly said, you have to be humble.
Yeah.
You have to know that I am starting at ground zero here in the next experience, and then work your way up. But also be cognizant that you will actually bring some other experience and add to that which this organization or this situation did not have.
Yes.
So then that's where you bring the best of both worlds.
Yeah, right. So it brings a proper mix for the next role that you are going on. So ma'am, like this brings let's go a little selfish on our side. So as you know now, as we are growing more towards the AI, and if we consider the next few years, it's going to be Gen Z, obviously. And like we can say,
and Gen Alpha too.
Obviously, and maybe something more advanced afterwards.
Beta.
Absolutely. So I'm like, if we consider the industry as of now, so how should the companies evolve their culture to accommodate the thinking and the strategies on the new generation like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and maybe Beta that would be coming, so that they can build upon their talent as well as the experience and strategy that they would be bringing? Because if we talk about specifically AI, it is like the current generation is getting easier and much more faster access to this technology, and learning is absolutely much better, we can say, and faster. And it is necessary for our future leaders like us also to leverage upon that background. So how should companies do that? I would like to know your views.
It is an age-old debate. Frankly, every time a new generation enters the workforce, people are always saying, oh, this is more difficult than the previous one, because they're so used to the previous way of working.
True.
So it was like, if you look up the internet, you would see people had the same problem when millennials were entering the workforce.
Yeah.
And they said, oh my God, the millennials are so different from the Gen Xers. They are so different from the baby boomers and everywhere, right?
True.
So every generation brings their context. Their context of growing up.
Yeah.
If you grew up in a place where there was poverty, there was no jobs, you did not have basic amenities in life, then your nature and what you would aspire for will be different.
Yes.
Yeah, which is what the boomers had to face. They faced famine, they faced poverty, they faced wars, they faced partitions, displacement, a lot of those things that happened. So their behavior is guided by that. Whereas if you look at the Gen Zs of today, the Gen Zs have grown up in a very different generation. They are digital natives. They were born with that. They've seen their parents actually, completely change their career, move towards, all of them are computer literate, and they realize that right from day one, from the time they are born, that they have to do that. They've lived in that era, right? And they are also, they have not seen so much of struggle as well. Because to that extent, they come in the different part of the century when their parents have ensured that they have at least the basic comforts in life. So then that is no more a struggle. So in that same Maslow hierarchy of needs that we say, the security part is already there. Now then you move to the next. So they're moving upwards. So therefore, this generation is now moving towards a self-actualization phase, where they are saying that, you know what, running behind money or running behind jobs or running behind security or stability is not what I want. I want to run behind my purpose. I want to define my purpose. I want to live life so that I have a good quality of life. That's what I want. So because you see, the security aspect is already there. It's not that, because as I said, the boomers, if they didn't work, they wouldn't get the next meal. They were in a very different generation. Whereas this generation does not have that struggle. So if that struggle is not there, then you are moving more and more towards the self-actualization, which many of them were not doing. Many of them were still stuck in the basics, basic necessities of life.
Safety and basic safety.
Yeah, just providing the basics. So if you were to think at that level, then obviously the Gen Zs will ask for different things. So you cannot give, so the motivation cannot be, okay, I will give you a bonus at the end of the year. If you perform well, I will give you a bonus. Now for a boomer, that was very big thing. You know, if I get a Diwali bonus, it means I can buy extra things for my family. Because whatever I'm earning, I'm just spending in my day-to-day, whatever my day-to-day expenses are, that's all. So a bonus really meant that I can do something extra. I can buy more sweets for my family. I can buy new clothes for my family. Whereas for Gen Zs, that is not the case. Because, so if offering the same incentive that you are offering a boomer will not apply to a Gen Z. Because the Gen Z is not looking for that. Gen Z already has that. So the Gen Z is saying, you give me a bonus extra, so what? But give me something that I really want. So that is, give me something that makes me feel self-actualized. So therefore the security benefits won't help me, but I'm actually looking for something else. And that is what Gen Z is questioning and asking. And I think rightly so. And I think as a parent of a Gen Z, I would say, I'm happy that, you know, I've been able to give that security to my child, who is now able to look at the higher level need. Whereas I was stuck providing only for the most part of my life, doing the secure and there's a security and my motivational needs. I did not reach the self-actualization. I'll be more than happy to see Gen Zs, Gen Alphas, Gen Betas actually thinking about self-actualization, where they don't, I mean, we as a society have done it well. Where we have moved from just barely surviving to actually reaching a place of self-actualization,
so
which is what a human being should aspire for, right?
Yes, that's the thing. I guess this brings one critical message, like the change is the only constant thing that we need to aspire for. And like, I guess
change for the better
absolutely
is what I would say is where the society has achieved something. If we haven't been able to do that, then it is a very sad, a sad judgment on how we as a society have evolved. Evolution should be for the better. And that's what if you see evolution from Neanderthal man to the Homo sapiens, if you see that evolution, each time it was adding a skill, each time it was adding value. And that's what the evolution of us as a society also has to do.
So I guess we need to give a better aspect towards the change, like it is for the betterment, not only for the us, for the entire society at itself and even our future generation. So that will surely like bring
should be the aspiration, but change would anyways happen. For example, the pollution that has happened, that is the our AQI levels, the kind of AQI levels we're looking at now. Then what were they 100 years ago or 70, 80 years ago in our big cities also? Now that is a bad part of our evolution. That is not a change that we wanted.
Surely, man.
We didn't want our rivers to be polluted. We didn't want that, all of us don't have water. There's water scarcity in most of our big cities. Our rivers are going dry, and which means it is actually the wrong thing that we have done. So this is also a change, unfortunately. But this is not a change that we as a society should aspire for.
Yes,
we need to change that situation if we have let this become our future.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm like, that brings to my last question. So ma'am, like as we said, you are also mentoring the next generation for the AI. So like for aspiring leaders like us, so what is particular AI skills or the mindset that we should develop that can give us a higher edge or differentiate us in like say coming years in the industry? Some suggestions from you.
See, curiosity and continuous learning. I think that is a non-negotiable meta skill that all of us have to ingrained, it should be ingrained in us that we have to do that. Because you see, technology is changing so fast. I cannot recommend 5 courses that I would say that you should do today, because tomorrow that may evolve.
True.
But you know what? I always believe that the basics don't change. For example, any algorithm, if you know the basics of how the algorithm is written, it is only the syntax and the way things are happening that changes. Right. But the fundamental construct of an algorithm, or a fundamental construct of how a flowchart happens, a fundamental construct of how a business happens, does not change.
Right.
So imbibe the basics very well. So that's your foundation. Right. And then on the foundation, build the tools or tool knowledge on top of that. And then bring in also the collective experience of you have gained through the experience that you bring, through the context that you have been in, through the cultural nuances that you have learned. Bring that all together to keep staying relevant in every era of your work life.
Right, ma'am. So I guess having a proper base will surely act as a like great thing or give us an advantage, and like we can build upon any technology, specifically in this dynamic tech world. I guess that's very important. So thank you, ma'am. That was really wonderful discussion, and I really got to know lot many things. I hope our audience also get to learn lot many things. So thank you, and wish you all the very best for the future, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.